No, I put on the Too Faced lip injection, lip gloss,
Thank you, Your Honor.
and then I put on a face oil,
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury, spell your...
and then I put on my suspension oil from WMP, and I think I touched the lip oil, or the lip gloss, the plumping lip gloss, and I think it caught on with the oil I was on, and I accidentally smeared it on my face. It's really, really red.
Your last name for the record.
Sure, my name is Connor Keefe. The last name is Keefe.
Not
Mr.
O'Keefe.
Keefe, where do you work?
I work for the Massachusetts State Police.
What's your position with the Massachusetts State Police?
I'm assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
Are you a trooper?
Yes,
When did you first start beginning working as a Massachusetts State Police
Thank
trooper?
you, Alyssa.
2017.
Did you go to basic training?
Yes, the Academy.
How long was the academy?
Approximately 6 months.
Did you have any further training after the academy?
On the job training?
Yes.
Yes. In various specialties.
What's your role at the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office?
I am assigned to the homicide unit where I investigate homicides, unattended deaths, suicides, stuff like
Good
that. I'm also a
afternoon,
digital
Patricia.
forensic
How are
examiner
you?
at the District Attorney's Office.
Did you have a role in investigating this case?
Yes.
Were you a assigned investigator in this case?
I wasn't the main investigator, but I was involved, yes.
Did you deal with any of the digital forensic evidence?
Yes.
Specifically, regarding the digital forensic evidence, did you meet anybody to obtain a phone?
Yes.
Who did you meet?
I met Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts.
Thank
When
you
you
for the
met with
follow.
them, did you have to obtain anything from them?
I obtained a consent form and their cellular device.
After you received their devices, where did you bring them?
They were brought back to the forensics lab located at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
And what, if anything, did you do with either or both phones?
I'm doing okay, thank
I
you.
conducted a forensic extraction on those devices.
An extraction, is that a copying an image of the phone?
Yes.
Is that different
Samantha,
than
you're
analyzing the
getting
phone?
a high.
Yes.
Were you
She
involved
saw
in
you.
analyzing Kerry Roberts' phone?
No.
Were you involved
Let
in
me turn that
analyzing
light
Jen
down.
McCabe's phone?
No.
Oh, the cat's
Was your role limited to
out. Sorry,
attaching
hon.
it to Gray Key and doing the extraction?
That is correct.
And did you do that?
Yes.
In addition to the phone extractions, if you take us back to January 29, 2022, were you involved in going to 34 Fairview Road in Canton, Massachusetts?
Yes.
Do you know about what time you went there?
Approximately 5:30.
Connor Keefe. Not O'Keefe. Just take off the O. Connor Keefe.
What was your role at 34 Fairview Road that evening?
I was asked by my supervisor, Lieutenant Brian Tully, to assist in processing the
Good
scene at
afternoon,
34
Parker.
Fairview Road in Canton,
How are
Massachusetts.
you?
When you arrived at 34 Fairview Road, was there anybody else there?
Yes.
Who was
If I go to do a mask today, will one of you guys kick me and remind me my skin is not happening today? So a mask will just make me worse. Don't let me do one.
there?
Lieutenant Tully, members of the Massachusetts State Police
Hi,
CERT
Terry,
team,
how
a
are
special
you?
emergency response team.
Are you part of the CERT team?
I am not.
Did you see what the CERT team was doing?
They were conducting an area search very front of the lawn and the street or road in front of 34 Fairview.
Did you have any role in that actual searching of evidence?
No, I did not.
What was your
This was the
limited
culprit.
role that night?
To process any evidence
Thank
that
you,
was
Katie.
discovered during the search.
When you say process the evidence, can you explain briefly, what does that mean?
Sure, I was had evidence bags, and if a piece of evidence or an item was found, I would place that item into the evidence bag
And why would you do that?
to secure it.
You're nervous.
How would you become aware if there was a piece of evidence found?
The CERT team would alert the supervisor, Lieutenant Tully, or myself that there was an item or a piece of evidence, and Lieutenant Tully would then take a photograph of it, and then I would secure the piece of evidence in a bag, evidence bag.
Do you know if those photographs were timestamped?
I believe so.
Your role was to put the evidence in the bag and return it to the evidence room?
Correct.
Did you do that?
Yes.
If I could begin, I'd like to show you on the screen a series of exhibits. If we could start with Exhibit 74, please.
So we're gonna switch the mic drop words to white and yellow after today's live. So I know it looks. I didn't see it last night, but I see it
recognize that
now.
item?
Yes.
What is it?
That is a black Nike shoe.
Did you see that item that night?
Yes.
I still don't see a shoe.
74A, please.
I don't see a shoe.
74B. Thank you. Is that the same sneaker?
Yes, sir.
After you were alerted to
Now
that
I do.
sneaker, did you
I do
place
now.
that sneaker
I need
into
the side.
an evidence bag?
Yes.
Did you bring that item with you today?
Yes.
Do you have gloves?
Yes, sir.
I couldn't see it face on. It had to be the side pick for me. My skin's starting to calm down.
Please, thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Gilman, you can take the photo down, please.
I might have to quit
With
lip
court's permission, I'm going to
injection,
move this
lip
piece of
gloss.
evidence, item into evidence.
We have the shoe. I'm not making a shoe sticker though. We're not having a shoe sticker. We got our solo cup. We got our bag, our leaf
Let me ask you
blower.
a few questions
Our
before
mic
you open
drop.
it. Could you stand and show that
Yes, sir.
bag? There's red
I'm
tape on
making
it. What's
a
that
sticker.
for?
To secure the bag.
Hi, Crystal. How are
If
you?
the bag is open, is it then retaped?
Yes.
Do you write on the outside of the bag?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
To memorialize the date, time when the evidence was collected.
The name is supposed to be written where the bag is sealed, so that if the seal is broken, you can tell that that it was opened by somebody, and then it's supposed to be retaped. Was that done, sir?
Could you open the bag and show us what's in it?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't it make you wonder if the other shoe's about to drop? Right. It doesn't say stop and save on the front, in case you were wondering. Yes. Thank you, Renee. I figured it was only right to pick the shell since my name's Michelle. So that's why I picked the shell one today. Thank you, thank you.
With the court's permission, can he show the item?
Yes.
I do like the shoe.
Trooper, is that the same item that you found that night?
Yes, sir.
If you could place it back in the bag, I'd ask this to be marked as an exhibit.
Any
Ooh,
objections to that?
that was beautiful. I hear you. I hear you. I know. But we haven't even gotten to that part yet. We start late, so we're at the very beginning.
So
That
you
is
mentioned
so
there's writing
cute.
on the outside of the bag.
Yes.
What type of information do you write on the bag?
Date, time, location, who was collecting it.
Me too. Thank you.
The time that you write in the bag, is that the specific time the item was found, or does that represent a different time?
Hello,
That could
Dana.
represent a
How
different
are
time.
you?
And why would that be?
If you're processing multiple things at once, you're bagging things at different times, then when you
You guys saw the screen flash, right? To words or something? Ooh. Yeah, I really like that one. Thank you.
seal the bag, that could be the time that is annotated on the bag.
Can the item be found before the time on that bag?
Yes.
Would you ever write a time later than when the item was found?
Yes.
So pretty. That one had shell in the
Now
name too,
to
so
Exhibit
no.
75, please.
Thank you, thank you. Watch it prompt our flash go like halfway through the
Defer to
live.
75A,
I don't
please.
see it yet.
Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
Is that one of the items you bagged that night?
Yes.
And if we could turn to 76A, please.
That looks rounded.
Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
Is that an item that you bagged that night?
Yes.
Do you have both of those items with you?
Yes, sir.
Could you produce those, please? Ms. Gilman, you could take that down, please. Thank you.
Yeah, save the heart me's, guys. Save them because I don't know when the flash gold's gonna pop. Maybe they're done with flash gold. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, permission
Isn't
to
that
ask
pretty?
the trooper to open the bag and show the jury.
Now we're getting to see brake lights. Not gonna say whose. We don't exactly know. I'm in a goofy mood today. Hello, how are you? Guys, we got our new sticker. I have to fix it. I didn't realize how bad the colors were. Make the words not pop. I'm good, Joanne. How are you? I'm just filling the empty air time. Well, I got my lip injection lip gloss mixed in with my face oil, like I hit it, and so it made my face swell and get red, but now it's calming down. Not the way I pictured today starting. No face masks for me. Kick me if I try, will you? I imagined it being a lot bigger than that.
Sir, on
I
those
did not
items there are
mean that.
stickers. Did you put the stickers on?
Wait.
I did not.
Do you know where the stickers come from?
I do not.
Do you know if these items are ever sent to anybody other than your evidence locker? Are they ever removed and given to lab personnel and technicians?
Am I
Yes.
the only
Do you
one
know
that
if that
heard
was done in
myself
this case?
on that one?
Yes, I do.
Inside that bag, is there just two pieces or is there another piece in that bag?
There's another piece in the bag.
When you put the taillight pieces in that bag, how many pieces did you put in the bag?
I put 2.
Do you know
I
if
think
the
so.
other piece in the bag is a piece that broke off, or do you know how that arrived there?
I do not.
Could you just pull out that other small piece and show the jury as well?
I thought you gotta remember, they still collected 40 more pieces after this. Not that, and not officially collected. You know, Canton called, and they had 40 more pieces. What the hell are you holding up? It's like a little
Is
bead.
that smaller piece consistent with the same color as the two bigger pieces?
Yes.
Is it consistent with the same material?
Yes.
Thank
Could
you,
put that back in the
Julie.
bag,
That one's
please,
so
and move this
pretty.
into evidence, please.
Sidebar. Already. We need to count our sidebars today. Like I said, I accidentally clicked on it earlier and it looked explosive. And before I could click out, I noticed they were at a sidebar. Okay, I'm lying to you guys. I clicked it on purpose just to see who was on the stand. And there was some explosive stuff happening, and then I left. No, this is John O'Keefe's mother right here. That's the family and friends. I believe this is his brother back here. Now, good morning. How are you? Are you guys familiar with... No, I can't say it. Oh, wait. No, I can't say it. Nope. Mm-mm. I shouldn't have clicked to come in early. It's killing me. I might have to accuse myself. Her dress is cute. I like her dress today.
So, Mr. Brennan, I leave it to you and the witness how you do that.
Yes.
It's set up very strange. Everything is like crammed in really tightly, but they like stack everything here and then in the middle, then the side. It's really weird, I know. Put it in the messenger. I'll see it pop up and I'll tell you if that's what I'm thinking or if you're telling me.
Sir, on the small chip piece, you
Yes.
don't know how,
Thank you, Catnip. Yes, from day 1 to 10 are on my YouTube under the same name, the links in my bio. I have every day that we've done together, our commentary and all that.
became chipped.
I do not.
I'd ask you to remove that chip. Like you to safely secure it, bring with you, and bag it when you leave.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to introduce that exhibit.
And don't forget to subscribe over there.
So we're going to mark the little chip.
You would
Ms.
like to mark
Giannetti
it?
asked to
Okay.
mark that. Yes.
And we're gonna submit that for identification.
That was one of
Small
the
chip
things.
that I
Madam
asked you to
Clerk.
secure.
Madam Court Reporter has an envelope.
Thank you very much.
Okay. To be completely honest, when I clicked in, one of the things that caught my attention was the checks. My eyes zeroed over because it was in big capital letters. Someone saying that there's a girl sitting by the brother today that was involved with O'Keefe, and she's like a cleaner, and that's who the mom thought he was going to marry. Okay, I feel better now. I'm not holding that weight. Why is she there today? For some reason, they're making a big deal about that.
Thank you.
The chat was going
Trooper, we have
crazy
one
about
more
it.
bag of items to go through.
Yes.
But it was an accidental see. I
Could I
didn't
have
see it on
exhibit
purpose.
73, please?
I'm getting myself in trouble. I'm gonna need to recuse
Sir, if you
myself.
could look at
Huh?
exhibit 73 on the screen, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is it?
A piece of clear plastic.
Is that piece of clear plastic, when you saw it, was it at ground level?
Yes,
Did you bag that item?
I did.
When you bagged that item, was there another item along with it in the same bag?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
It's clear that there's more going on here than what we thought. Good morning, Glam. And when I say thought, I mean came into this and heard openings statements.
Yes.
No, it didn't say that.
The piece of clear plastic.
Is that the second piece of the
Thank
bag?
you, Glam.
Separate from the last exhibit?
Yes.
Is there an accurate depiction of how you saw it that morning?
Yes, sir.
I'd move this into evidence as an exhibit, please.
Okay. There's no objection, Ms. Giannetti?
With the court's permission, could we show exhibit 79 to the jury?
Yes.
Thank you, Glam.
Mr. Gilman, would you be able to close? Thank you.
Trying to decide if I should
Recognize
dye
that
my
item,
hair
sir?
later.
Yes.
And did you bring those two items with you, the past exhibit and this exhibit?
Yes.
Could you produce those, please?
Don't let me forget to change the font on the mic drop sticker later. I'll probably forget. I forget everything else.
Are these different in color than the last pieces you showed?
Yes.
With the court's permission, could the trooper show these pieces?
Yes.
The clear one? Right? But would this be a better late than never scenario? The damage is done, in my opinion.
Thank you, trooper. I've moved these items to evidence.
Right.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
If you guys could tap on my side, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Trooper Keith.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any questions, Ms. Giannetti?
Sure I
Good
have.
morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for the follow.
Testified that you received the cell phone of Jennifer McCabe and of Kerry Roberts?
Correct.
With regard to the cell phone of Jennifer McCabe in particular, you had her sign what is called a consent form, correct?
That's correct.
What is a consent form?
Trust me, Parker. Ask.
It allows the trooper or law enforcement to, with the owner's consent, we are able to conduct an extraction of the device.
Okay. And on that consent form, there is a description of the item itself.
Yes.
In this case, it would have been an iPhone 11.
Yes.
And there also is an identifier with regard to a specific phone called the IMEI number.
The International Mobile Equipment Identifier.
Okay. And that would be included on the form as well because it identifies the specific iPhone 11 that Jennifer McCabe had, correct?
Correct.
The password was provided on that consent form,
Yes.
and the form was signed, correct?
Yes.
By both Jennifer McCabe and by you, correct?
Yes.
And there was also a second trooper that would have signed the form as well.
That's correct.
With regard to the timing of the signing of that form,
Hold on.
Jennifer McCabe date.
Sorry about that. Awkward. Alright, here we go.
Dated February 2nd of 2022.
Yes.
You also dated it February 2nd of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Jennifer McCabe did not list a time, but you did, correct?
I would have to look at the
It's Aaron.
consent form.
Okay, so your memory, you don't remember what time you indicated or if you indicated the time, but looking at the consent form would refresh your memory?
Yes.
May I approach you on it?
Yes.
As long as Mr. Jackson stays at the microphone, we should be able to hear over that. It's not like we have a big area. Our yard's really small.
I just ask you to read that silently and then look up at me when you're done, Trooper.
At least it wasn't a leaf blower. If you know, you know.
Having
Please do.
reviewed that form, does that refresh your memory as to whether you indicated a date and time?
I did, yes.
And what was the date and time that you indicated?
It was February 2nd, 2022, 12:08.
And that would have been 12:08 p.m.?
Correct. 12:08 p.m.
The document that I handed you is not an original, correct?
I'll be here
No,
all
it's
week.
not.
Does it appear to be a precise copy of the original, however?
Yes.
May I offer that into evidence, Your Honor,
Thank
please?
Is there an
you.
objection, Mr. Brennan?
No, subject to redaction.
Okay.
Why would she ask Mr. Brennan if he had an objection? I want to know what part was redacted.
Trooper Keefe, as of January 29th of 2022, you were colleagues in the same state police unit as Michael Proctor, correct?
I was.
At that time, was the unit called the CPAC unit or was it called Norfolk County Detectives?
I don't recall when it changed.
Okay. It's been called both, correct?
It has.
As of January 29th of 2022, there were only 10 troopers in the unit, including supervisors, correct?
I don't know.
It's a small unit, is it not?
Relatively small.
Hi, Mama Bear.
Within
How are you?
the CPAC or the Norfolk County Detectives, every case that comes in is assigned to one particular trooper as the lead investigator in the case, correct?
That is something that a supervisor would do, not me.
And have you been assigned as the lead investigator in other investigations?
Hi, Jesse.
Not a homicide investigation, no.
You have not yet.
No.
Glad to see you. We just got started a few minutes ago.
The lead investigator is the trooper who is responsible for the case, correct?
Many minutes ago.
Yes.
Michael Proctor was the lead investigator for the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe, was he not?
Yes.
That's what I told her to tell
If
me
somebody
to
asked
join
within your
us.
unit while this case was going on, whose case is it, or who has that case, your answer would have been Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes.
The two of you have
You're
worked
welcome,
cases together in
Susan.
the past, correct?
A few.
You've worked on this case with Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, within your
Hi,
work
Cindy
on this
Lou.
case, you actually partnered
How
with
are you?
him for certain assignments within the case, did you not?
You'll have to be more specific.
Sure.
Good
So for
afternoon,
instance,
Holly.
on October 21
Good
of 2022,
afternoon,
you
dear,
and Michael Proctor interviewed Sarah Levinson together, correct?
It sure is.
No, I don't recall that.
Thank you.
If I may just have a moment, Your Honor.
I don't think I think it's done with flash goals because nothing's popped up. I think we're good on the flash goal. Must be over. This guy gives me a vibe. Does he give you guys a vibe? Yeah, I see the shell one, but not the flash goal. It's usually up by now. If it happens, I have ESPN. He seems defensive. Like there's a like a big shield that he's holding at his side, but he's ready to put it in front of him. That's how I see it.
Do you not remember interviewing Sarah Levinson on October 21
That's
of
not your husband.
2022 at 12:20 p.m. at the Norfolk DA's office? Is that your current testimony?
Yes.
Okay. If you saw a copy of that report, would that refresh your memory?
To an extent.
May I put you on?
Yes.
I'm gonna need to make a Mrs. Jackson sticker, I think, eventually here. How many of you sister wives are there now? Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real.
I've placed a document in front of you. I would just ask you to read that silently to yourself. Look up at me when you're done.
The defense attorney that's not talking right now. They're all marrying. Aaron got me first. Well, second. Count my first marriage. Epic fail. I might be spicy today, guys. I don't think that would fit on a sticker, though. That's a lot. Goodness gracious. I guess we'll not be playing Fortnite that night, huh, Catnip? Okay. How'd it go?
Trooper Keith, just so we're clear, I'm not going to ask you any questions about the specifics of what Sarah Levinson said, so
I
you
just
don't
like
have to
to,
brush up on that.
I just like to refresh. Take a
Sure,
look, sir.
go ahead.
Why would you pick Monday? That's right. I forgot that. Babe, how come you didn't put those in the freezer? Aren't they frozen solid?
Nope.
When did you put them in?
Before going outside.
That's brilliant.
Having reviewed that report, does that refresh your memory as to whether or
Gonna be
not you
great.
participated in an interview
It's
of
Midnight
Sarah
Ice.
Levinson with Michael
Not really sure
Proctor on
what the
October
flavor is.
21st of 2022?
Yes, I don't recall the specifics, but
So
Did you just make me the guinea pig? You just said I don't know what flavor it is. Try it.
Because I really couldn't taste it.
Oh.
when you say
I mean, it
yes,
tasted fine to me, but
is it your current testimony that your memory is refreshed that you were actually there?
yes,
This is good.
And
Thank you.
the two of you would have participated in
He's
that
too good to
interview
me.
together, correct?
yes,
But you did not write the report, correct?
no, I did not.
Michael Proctor wrote the report, correct?
Just in case you guys missed it, he was at an interview that he claimed he wasn't at. He had to read the transcripts from the interview to verify that he was actually there with Michael Proctor. Nope, they don't have a super memory. They have a Michelle kind of memory today.
Correct?
Yes, he did.
He was the lead investigator writing the report, correct?
Very fishy.
Yes, he wrote this report.
He chose the language to use in that report, correct?
I did not have any input on how he wrote this report.
Right. You had no input, you weren't standing over him while he was typing it,
Right,
correct?
Molly?
Correct.
Yes,
Now,
this is
Other
new.
examples
This is today.
of, and actually, let me take that back from you if you don't mind. May I approach this?
Yes.
They're acting like we're not going to get to see Mr. Proctor.
Other examples are the reports on the videos that well, strike that. Let me start by saying this. You, or asking this, you retrieved
I sent it, Kevin.
videos from both the Waterfall Bar and Grill
Did I
and
forget to send
C.F. McCarthy's, did you not?
That's correct.
You and Sergeant Buchanan retrieved the videos from C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
Yes,
But lead detective or lead investigator Michael Proctor was the one to analyze the video and write a report on it, correct?
I would have to see that report, sir.
Sure.
So are they having him come and not having Proctor come? I have a weird feeling about Proctor not showing up.
If I may approach?
Okay.
That's what I was wondering too, Crystal. Bet you they won't.
Again, if you read that silently to yourself and look up to me when you're done.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant not show up, obviously, because they weren't called. I think Hank is being selective this time with who he brings in. Mm-hmm. He really should, but it's a shit show regardless at this point. In my opinion, of course. Is he praying? It needs a prayer. I'm sure he was. No, we start late so we could fast forward through all the sidebars and breaks. Thank you for the follow. And here we practice
Reviewed that
patience with
report. Does that refresh
parameters.
your memory about Michael Proctor being the one to write the report on the analysis of the waterfall video?
Sir, I only obtained a copy of the surveillance video. I did not do any analysis on the video.
That's my question. It was Michael Proctor who
He was reading a report, so it was quiet, that's why.
did the analysis, correct?
Yes,
And that, by the way, I
Right.
said waterfall. Is that C.F. McCarthy's there, or is that waterfall?
this is C.F. McCarthy's.
Okay, I meant C.F. McCarthy's. He was the one to review that video, correct?
Better if you said anything before how about the basement carpet seeping the house and the dog gone. If you said anything before that, it didn't come through. Sometimes TikTok filters the comments. So if you said anything before that, we didn't get, or I didn't get it at least. So you might need to reword it.
Yes, again, I only got a copy of the surveillance video.
Sure.
I did not do any
And
Sure
analysis.
don't.
with regard to the waterfall bar and grill, that was another circumstance where you and Sergeant Buchanan were the
You're welcome.
ones to retrieve the video, correct?
Yes,
But again, lead investigator Michael Proctor was the one to analyze the video and write the report.
Can you guys tell Justine if she doesn't have sound to exit and come back in and it should fix it?
On it, correct?
yes, I would have to see that report as well, sir.
Now, another member of your unit was Trooper David DeChico, correct?
Yes,
Within your unit, did Trooper DeChico have a nickname for a first name?
Objection.
May we approach?
Sidebar again. Fastest sidebar ever.
Trooper, in terms of
Two.
the troopers that were in your unit as of January 29th of 2022, which members of the
Yeah, two.
unit had the least amount of time in the unit at that time?
I don't recall.
Were you one of the newer members of the unit?
As of January of 2022?
Yes.
Yes,
Then Trooper Michael Proctor had more experience than you did as of January 29th of 2022, correct?
he could have. He'd been on the job longer.
Okay, well, if he had been on the job longer, then certainly that means that he did have more experience, correct?
It depends.
You attended the autopsy of John O'Keefe on January 31st of
I did.
2022. And with regard to other members of
Is
your
she
unit,
really?
you were the only one to attend that autopsy?
Yeah,
I mean, I have ESPN. I predicted what she was going to wear today. That wasn't a convenience. I have ESPN.
That was done at the medical examiner's office?
No, we start late every day so we can fast forward through all the breaks.
the medical examiner's office in Sandwich, Massachusetts.
Patients
in
with
San
parameters.
Antonio. And it was Dr. Irene Scorti Bello who performed the autopsy, correct?
Yes.
Had you met her prior to that day?
No.
Had you spoken to her prior to that day?
That's the joke, you guys. The joke is that I say ESPN and it's ESP. That's the joke. I would make a horrible comedian if I had to explain my own jokes.
No.
Did you know before the autopsy was performed that your former colleague, lead investigator Michael Proctor, had discussed the case with Dr. Scorti Bello without telling us what you knew of what was said?
Objection.
With regard to Dr. Scorti Bello's knowledge of what the state police theory was of what happened, did you have to explain that, or was it your understanding she already knew what your theory was?
Thank you for the follow. Thank you.
What, if any,
See,
conversations did you
I just want to point out I'm not the only one that says ESPN.
have
Thank you.
with Dr. Scorti Bello about what your unit's theory was about what happened to John O'Keefe?
I've said it
There
like
was no
500
theory.
times.
Okay. You did not provide any theory to her, correct?
I did not provide a theory.
You learned at the autopsy from your observations that John O'Keefe had 2 black eyes and a swollen right eye, correct?
Yes.
You also learned that there was a small cut above his right eye, correct?
Thank you,
Yes.
Kay.
And there was a small abrasion on the left side of his nose, correct?
Was it Mayor that told me?
I would have to reference the report for the exact words.
This is Connor Keefe.
I may have a moment.
Thank you. He is very young, yeah. Or he looks it anyways. So it's not O'Keefe, it's just Keefe. Take off the O. This is Connor Keefe from State Police. He joined State Police in January of 2022. He worked alongside Proctor, though he didn't remember it until he had to read the report. Then he suddenly remembered working with Proctor alongside him.
So I placed another document in front of you. Just take a look, read it silently to yourself, and look up at me when you're done. And I would direct your attention to the second page for the question I just asked you.
That makes no sense to me. Was he bending over to tie his shoe when she allegedly hit him with her?
Having reviewed that report, Trooper, is your memory refreshed
With her brake
as to
light?
whether you observed a small abrasion on the left side of John O'Keefe's nose?
Thank you, Crystal.
Yes.
Now, was this the first autopsy that you had attended, or had you attended ones in the past?
I cannot recall.
It could have been the first one.
Most likely not.
When you're attending an autopsy as a member of the CPAC unit or the Norfolk Detectives Unit, you are expecting that the medical examiner is going to examine the
Right.
body, correct?
Yes.
And you're there to witness that examination, correct?
Yes.
No, that's why his shoe was off, you guys. If everything fits, he was trying to tie his shoe. She backed up and his face fell into the brake light. And it busted up, gave him 2 black eyes, a swollen eye, a cut above his eye, and all the abrasions down his arm. Totally plausible. That's why they found that shoe in the snow later on. Totally plausible.
At the end of the examination, you are expecting that there will be a
thought so
determination
too.
as to cause and manner of death, correct?
Not a,
In this case, when the autopsy ended, you left the medical examiner's office, correct?
yes.
When you left, your understanding was that the cause and manner of death was still undetermined, correct?
Yes.
You knew when you left that Dr. Scorti-Bello had seen the scratches or bites or injuries to John O'Keefe's arms, correct?
Objection.
You knew when you left that in your presence, Dr. Scorti-Bello had seen the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm.
Object to the line of questioning.
Good job, Bev. You've sustained 3 from him.
Okay. Jurors, feel free to stand.
Oh, goodness. Sidebar number 3 for the day. Really quick sidebar. Surprisingly, she's sustaining his Hank's objections
Were you
right now.
watching Dr. Scorti-Bello as she was conducting the autopsy?
Yes.
Did she appear to be looking at John O'Keefe's body?
It's the same thing. Just ask the question.
What direction were her eyes facing when she was examining John O'Keefe's body?
I don't recall.
Okay. Was she looking at the
She
ceiling,
must be.
Trooper?
She was doing her job conducting the autopsy.
And in
looking
order to
at
do
the
that,
body.
I'm sorry?
She was looking at the body, I
Okay.
assume.
Thank
Not
you.
in,
Thank you. And looking at the body, you saw her looking at the body, correct?
yes,
And looking at the body included an arm, correct?
yes,
And it was at the arm was not covered up during the autopsy, correct?
no,
It was open for you to see, correct?
yes,
And you saw the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm, correct?
yes,
You didn't see any bruising on his arm, correct?
There's no
I
objection.
don't recall.
You didn't notice any obvious broken bones, did you?
I'm not a medical expert.
You're raising more
And
suspicions,
it is
sir.
common practice for the state
An
police
orb just
to
went by his
attend
head.
autopsies when there's an undetermined death, correct?
Yes,
I
It
know.
is not at all common for the defense to attend an autopsy, correct?
I've never experienced that.
Right. And there was no defense attorney or defense expert at the autopsy of John O'Keefe, correct?
Not when I was there.
You were there, correct?
Yes,
And there was nothing
think so,
that
too.
prevented you from giving input to the doctor as she examined the body, correct?
we don't give input, we give the facts that we know so far in the case.
Okay. Well, giving the facts is giving input, is it not?
It's not input.
Okay. Did you talk to Dr. Scotti-Bello during the autopsy?
Yes,
I know that.
And you gave her information, if you don't want to call it input, correct?
yes,
And at the end of it, you left without her ruling it a homicide, correct? I have nothing further.
No, none, thank you.
All right, you're all set, Julie.
Why didn't they weren't going to let him answer whether or not it was ruled a homicide? Why not? Hank, you need to calm the hell down. Me too. Why? I don't understand why he just gave up.
All right, we're going to take a break. The lawyers and I have some work that we have to do, so it's a little bit longer break than we normally take, and it's a little bit earlier, but we did get caught.
Now this is one break that we have to watch. I think I have a feeling there's a disturbance in the force. The fact that she looked like she was gonna faint. Tell him to stay close to the microphones today. He got really bad habit of doing that yesterday.
Miles, so you have transcripts.
Understood, Your Honor.
Do 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 do. Come on.
Understood, Your Honor. I first want to just get to the evidentiary basis. This is straightforward judicial notice. There are two separate decisions which require two separate.
One's a Massachusetts case, so that's easy enough.
Okay, so, and that's a shall.
It's an SJC case, so yes.
Yeah.
We're on sidebar 3 for the day that turned into an early break so they can discuss this, and this is, we just hit play.
Okay, so now to the Maryland case. So that's governed by federal, Massachusetts, Rule 39A, and that is records of courts of other states or of the United States. The Act provision is the records and judicial proceedings, and of course a court is judicial proceedings, of a court of another state or of the United States shall be competent evidence in this Commonwealth if authenticated by the attestation of the clerk or other officer who has charge of the records of such court under its seal. So I have with me, Your Honor, that State v. Herrera, Maryland case. I have the certified copy with me from the clerk.
All right, so we can mark that for identification.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I have with me the certified copy from the clerk. All right, so we can mark that for identification. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so we can mark that for identification.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All
What?
May I approach?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
So, assuming Your Honor determines that the seal is the seal, it is
too.
mandatory under the rule that it shall be competent evidence, it shall be in evidence. And to the extent the Commonwealth seeks to argue relevancy or materiality, that argument is precluded, Your Honor. And the best evidence of that preclusion is the immediate section below in Rule 39, which is notice of foreign law, which is not this, but it says there, the court shall upon request take judicial notice of the law of the United States or of any state, territory, or dependency thereof, or of a foreign country, whenever it shall be material. So the drafters of this rule knew how to put in a qualification or condition when they introduced materiality in B, but they didn't do it in A.
Okay, so focus on what it is you think
Thank
Jessica
you.
Hyde should be prohibited from testifying about.
Oh, Your Honor, I am not seeking to prohibit her from any testimony under this rule. What I want to
Jessica
do
Hyde.
is to have it admitted in evidence, have it published, and question her on what she presented to the court in the Maryland case, what was presented, her report, because it was deemed not reliable. And that is what...
In one area, right? One specific area?
Well, you can call it... one
The
area.
decision.
Right. Oh, yeah, just what's in the decision, but there's two parts to that decision, two areas. It's FLH, location history.
Right.
But what the court also got at was Apple source codes, that she didn't have the Apple source code.
Nobody in the country has the Apple source codes, right?
Point exactly, Your Honor.
What is it that, so you want to put in her report and question her about a proceeding in Maryland? I need to know exactly what you're asking
If I could
me to
proceed and
allow.
give you the answer, Your Honor, I will
Go ahead.
explain it. It's a very short answer.
Okay.
What I want to do is, with regard to her 227 timestamp and her anticipated testimony on that, where she uses a tool, Celebrite, to determine and come to a conclusion about that timestamp, she is not using Apple's source code to find out where that's located specifically in the phone and what it means. She is using a surrogate to do that. And I want to cross-examine her on the topic using this decision to say, in Maryland, you tried to do the same thing with regard to FLH. You tried to use a surrogate approach and make an opinion about whether that is, in fact, what's in the phone. She can't do it, and that means her testimony on 227 is not reliable. I'm not looking...
No, it's not about the search. It's about what the witness did to find out about that. He wants to be able to question them. My thought, why wouldn't they be able to question them? So it's going to be interesting.
To exclude it, I'm looking to cross her on her reliability for the conclusions I anticipate she's going to make on 227.
So if she is not asked about that, then what?
Oh, if she's not asked about the 227, and I want to think about it, but I'm 99% certain I am not going to pursue that at all.
Okay, what do you say, Mr. Brennan?
This is an attempt to try to malign a witness with something that's wholly unrelated and not relevant to what she's going to testify to or the basis for her opinion. It is not a law that is admissible. It's an opinion. It wasn't even about a specific case. It was about a peer review. And so in a Daubert hearing, the court did not allow testimony on significant location. That's not the case here. Try to conflate the argument saying it has something to do with Apple 227. There is absolutely no basis for that argument. They want to say that another court rejected something about you, therefore the jury should reject you. There's no relationship between what she is going to testify as a basis
Tammy?
and that opinion. That opinion did not say she was wrong. It said that it was not admissible under Dauber, unrelated. Nobody has the Apple source code. No expert can testify about Apple source code. It's only owned by Apple. And so using the words like surrogate as a way to try to cheapen her testimony in front of the jury. Here, number one, what he said, I really can't follow him. I don't understand, other than he's trying to draw some type of relevance and materiality. There's none.
Good
There's none.
afternoon,
This is not
Gina.
a denouncement. She hasn't been found incredible. There's nothing about her methodology that has been rejected by a court. This is on significant location, and although she looked at it, that's not part of this opinion whatsoever. And so because another court didn't allow something under a Dauber, has nothing to do with this case. Nothing.
And what is it that you expect her to testify to, Mr. Brennan, regarding the 207 stamp? We did not have this issue with Mr. Whiffen, right? This was not raised with Mr. Whiffen.
Oh, it was, the 227 timestamp.
No, that was raised, but this
Good afternoon, Barbie. How are you?
was problematic in Maryland. The same thing that was problematic in Arrington.
That's correct, Your Honor. It wasn't raised because Mr. Whiffen has not been advertised with regard to Apple source codes. And if I could, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mother.
Mr. Brennan has made a relevance argument. He keeps anticipating my cross, which he has incorrect, by saying it's not relevant. That doesn't go to the admissibility in my cross. I'm entitled to cross her on her reliability. And if I could, Your Honor, in the State of Herrera decision,
He's very
if
passionate.
Your Honor would look at page 3, these at the bottom, the paragraph, it says, in assessing the reliability of an expert's methodology, I get to do that on cross. It's not limited to a Dauber hearing. Every expert can be crossed on their reliability of their methodology. And lastly, with regard to the Apple source code, if Your Honor would please turn to page 6, the last paragraph, it says the issue raised in this case stems from the fact that Apple's algorithms are proprietary and the expert did not have access. That's exactly the situation here and what I want to cross her on. So in conclusion, Your Honor, the fact that how she tried to get around the Apple source code, her methodology in the Herrera case, she got Daubertized on because it wasn't reliable. That's exactly what I want to cross her on, is her reliability, how she's trying to get around them. In this case, it's just basic cross-examination.
You can see the plan to dehumanize somebody, Daubertized, to use a term to suggest some type of conclusion that has no basis in fact is an attempt to just dehumanize her and limit her testimony and credibility without any basis in fact. In that case, it did not deal with the search of a tab and a suspended state in Safari. It didn't deal with the timestamp.
Thank you,
It was
Lisa.
an entirely different issue. By their analysis, if an expert goes into court on a motion on anything to do with data forensics and the court says that issue is not admissible, they should be impeached when they go and talk about a totally different issue in forensic
He's not saying
data
that.
analysis and another case. They have not shown any evidence that this issue has anything to do with her effort in the
Thank you,
timestamp. They
Piper.
just used the word methodology. Her methodology was questioned in an opinion in a different court. Has nothing to do with her opinions here. What
Then why are you
information do
fighting
they
her
have
being
that her
questioned?
methodology in this analysis has been rejected by any court? What evidence they have that the methodology used in this case is unreliable or improper? They don't have any. In fact, they called an expert themselves in the last case who tried to provide what he believed to be methodology, and they presented that. They proffered that evidence as reliable.
Thank you,
No
Lisa.
different on this subject. Herrera case is a totally different subject.
Your Honor, first of all, as the court has noted, the first trial is the first trial. This is this trial. I wasn't at the first trial. The
That's
most
right.
important and probative aspect, Your Honor, is I don't want to have to give away my entire cross in this argument.
No one's asking you to. I'm not asking you to.
There is parts of Ms. Hyde's slide that go to location. There's a good part of her slide presentation. I don't want to depart from the 227, but the good part of her slide presentation that she's going to present is on location. It is with regard to how data stats. So there are certainly aspects directly relevant. Here's the issue with the 227 in addition. There is, for her methodology, she's claiming a certain conclusion and opinion about the 227. There is no peer review. There is no article that she can cite to support her methodology to come to the conclusion that the 227 timestamp, one, doesn't exist anymore, or two, doesn't mean that the search occurred at 227. That's what she's going to, that's what she's opined on in her reports pre-trial, and that's what I anticipate she's going to opine on when she takes the stand. I'm entitled to cross her on that. We can't be saddled, it's irrelevant. What our witness has said in another proceeding is what this witness is going to talk about in this matter, and I'm entitled, and my client's entitled to have me confront this witness on what she's going to testify and her methodology. So my point is, Your Honor,
The fact that he even has to make this argument is asinine. He shouldn't even have to make this argument. He should be allowed to cross any witness. This is ridiculous. The flash goal just popped up, guys. So we need, how many? We need 40 total grade of all times by 40 different people. Well, we hit double digits today. This will be our 10th flash goal that we actually beat, which would be huge. Thank you, guys.
this decision, how do you impeach an expert? That one of the fundamental ways you do it is, and I don't mean to dehumanize her, I won't even use the term Galbraithize anymore. She's been deemed unreliable. Attorneys who do experts all the time, that's the verb you use to shortcut it, but I won't use it. I have no intention to dehumanize her. What I intend to do is to impeach her on her reliability. So in conclusion, Your Honor, the Herrera case, she was deemed not reliable. That's competency.
There, I sent one too.
You, in any expert that's been deemed that, you get to attack that. If the Commonwealth believes the case is not relevant, if Ms. Hyde believes it's not relevant, let Ms. Hyde defend that on the stand. Let Mr. Brennan make that point on redirect.
And he should have every right to, because everyone that has, well, just about everybody that's come up has been found to be lying or suddenly has amnesia about everything.
I can't have my client's constitutional right
The
to
goat.
confront her on the very subject matter she's going to testify on
The goat
by
one.
anticipating what I'm going to provide for cross. I
Thank
get it,
you.
and I respectfully submit, Your Honor, this is basic cross of an expert witness, particularly when their methodology on data forensics has been
Right.
deemed not reliable by a court. And one part is the location she has in her PowerPoint she's going to testify.
Do you intend to introduce that, Mr. Brennan?
It's not significant locations. There are locations in the database that develop the opinion that the timestamp for 227 is not related to the search. They're conflating the issue. She has not been deemed unreliable.
Thank you.
It is the issue of the significant
22
locations by
more.
that court that they found insufficient. There's no opinion from a court that she's an unreliable expert, and this is how they're going to distort it. Invoking the Constitution and invoking the client's rights has nothing to do with the analysis. That this is a totally separate subject,
Thank
or an opinion
you.
simply wasn't let in a different court out of this jurisdiction. It wasn't this
21.
opinion, there wasn't this methodology for the opinions that she's going to offer in this case. And so if you look at the case, it is a totally different related report, different related item. It's as if a reconstruction expert went into a court and attempted to give an opinion about a medical diagnosis, and the court wouldn't allow that medical diagnosis in. In another court, in another jurisdiction, they would not be able to be cross-examined that in some court there was an opinion they offered that was deemed inadmissible, unless they were talking about the very same methodology and the very same point. This has nothing to do with her opinion whatsoever.
And they have a
It's
right
just
to
an
do it,
attempt
though.
to try to endorse the defense's attempt to suggest she's not credible by hiding behind the shield of a different judge and distorting the fact that it's two different methodologies, it's two different issues.
One last word. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. He just said credibility. This isn't a credibility issue. This is a reliability. This is the essence of what experts do. You have
No.
to show that your methodology is reliable. It's a red herring to bring up credibility. The
Thank
court
you.
opinion.
And this is
19
the
more,
equivalent
guys.
of a Superior Court opinion, right? It's not an appellate
It is,
decision.
Your Honor. It is, Your Honor. It is the equivalent. I respectfully don't think that the level of the court is at all relevant. Any court, unless you get it overturned on appeal, then this would be a different matter. But this is a valid case, and even if it wasn't, it shall be in evidence. So there's two issues here, and I think the Commonwealth is conflating them. The question first for the court is this admissible? Can it come into evidence? To me, that's a non-issue. Rule 39 says, ipso facto, yes, as long as I've got a certified copy. So it is in evidence. I don't know why we're perseverating respectfully on whether I can question her on something that's going to be in evidence about her. Final point, Mr. Brennan incorrectly says that this wasn't about her. The final sentence, the decretal section on page 7 says, accordingly, defendant's motion to exclude expert testimony regarding the significant location data obtained from the forensic cell extraction is granted. She's the only expert, and her name is mentioned throughout this opinion. It's all about Ms. Hyde. And I'll
Yes,
conclude my
Lord.
last point, Your Honor, where I started, and that is Ms. Hyde's methodology with regard to her PowerPoint. You heard Mr. Brennan's answer. He is going to include, he has included in her PowerPoint locations, steps, etc. It's exactly what was at issue here. The 227 timestamp, she has no, and this will be developed further on cross.
We have, I believe it was 8 minutes. Yeah, 8 minutes to get 19 more of the goats by 19 totally different people. It costs 1 coin each. That's the flash goal for the day from they put it up. So if you guys could do that, that will put us in double digits. That will mean we beat 10 flash goals. Thank you.
She has no
Thank you,
peer-reviewed
Lisa.
article to say that how she is determining that 227
Thank you,
timestamp
Stacy.
should not be in the data. She has nothing to support that, just like she had nothing in this case with regard to data forensics. Final point is, if the Commonwealth believes that
We
this
might
is
get it, guys. We
irrelevant
might.
to what Ms. Hyde did, let them come back on redirect on that. I
Exactly.
shouldn't anticipatory have my cross-examination struck before I even get to pursue that with the witness. And I
Thank you,
believe once I
guys.
pursue it with the witness, it will become evidently clear that it's a proper basis for cross-examination.
Exactly.
And
100% on
Mr.
board
Lessie,
with
have you
that.
thought about if the Commonwealth does not get into the 227 timestamp,
you,
whether
Leslie.
you think you're still entitled to do this?
Your answer, or your Honor, my answer is I would be entitled, but I would say this: if they don't get into 227, I won't go after it. I won't pursue it. I won't.
Thank
pursue
you.
it.
We necessarily
It's happening now,
would
Kathy.
have to on some basis, because in order for the
12
witness to
more.
explain to the jury her opinion that Ms. McCabe did not
Thank you.
delete
Thank you.
any Safari browser searches, she would have to identify the search, where it is in the databases, and how she can tell, how she
Thank
knows
you.
that it wasn't deleted by a user. The same with the second part of the phone calls, but if I could avoid talking about 227, I would, but it is necessary for the basis of her opinion. There's just no way around it.
Guys, for the GOAT, you only have to send it once. So we need 12 more from 12 different people that haven't already sent one. It's the new flash goal thing TikTok does.
And again, this is something that
We're almost there
after
though. 12.
a defendant expert may or may not testify, could be addressed at that point.
Thank
There is
you.
no burden on the defendant. I'm not being presumptuous, although there was a offer of proof earlier
sent one
on
for
on
mine,
similar
too.
evidence, but not knowing the court's wisdom on whether I'll be
Can you send
entitled
that
to
again,
rebuttal.
Sandra?
I do not want to lose the opportunity to address points that were made in the opening that have absolutely no basis in fact and have not been proven in any way to this point. in the
We only
case.
need 9
So I
more.
asked earlier whether the defense intended to call
I completely
Mr.
understand,
Green, and you
Kathy.
believe that you do, right?
Your Honor, we have not made a decision on what data forensics expert we're going to call, but if I could just 10 seconds,
Okay, but then answer my question
Thank
after your
you.
10 seconds.
but I will.
Why are you putting him on a time limit with what he's saying? He has every right to get up there and argue the point that he's arguing. And the fact that you guys are trying to block them from that, I think that's even more telling.
Mr. Brennan can't have it both ways.
Thank you,
You
Jessica.
can't
Thank you,
say,
Susan.
yes, I need to address the 227 timestamp, and then deny me the ability to cross-examine fully on this expert's methodology and to impeach her and to get at
7
her
more.
liability and her competence, which is a key
That's
issue
not
of
husband.
crossing an expert. Her competence has been determined in this
Thank
decision.
you.
And it is her, because it was her report that was the basis
I'm thinking
for
that
the
too.
court to not allow her to testify. They can't have it both ways. You can't say, I need to do it in direct, but no, I want to handcuff the defense on cross-examination. Now to answer your question, Your Honor, we are going to have
I
a
completely agree,
witness
Crystal.
that is going
5
to
more?
address the 227 issue. Whether it's Mr. Green or
Thank
somebody
you.
else, we haven't determined. My point on that, Your Honor, is we
I don't know
should
either.
be limited in our cross-examination of the Commonwealth.
No, I'm just thinking it in terms of whether this might be appropriate for rebuttal. That's,
Nobody,
And,
Monica.
and Your Honor, my point would be, that's obviously going to be Your Honor's decision ultimately. But again, a Commonwealth
That's
can't
not
have
Mr.
it
Jackson.
both ways. They're the ones who are triggering this issue, and I say
He's back
triggering
here
in a
sitting
legal
down.
sense. They are putting at issue the 227 timestamp with this issue, with this witness. If they weren't doing that, I wouldn't be having this discussion at all. But they're putting it at issue.
You're welcome.
I have
They're
the right
arguing.
respectfully to cross-examine on the
Alessi.
issue that they're putting in issue, and they shouldn't get rewarded with sort of having a free authorization of rebuttal to deal with it. They should have to meet their burden of rebuttal depending upon when the evidence comes. But I don't believe just because we may call
We've got 3 minutes to get 5 more goats. That's 5 total coins, 1 each. So I have one person that has 1 coin and could send the goat so we could get this flash goal done. This would make it our 10th time getting a flash goal done. Double digits is a huge, huge deal. Thank you guys so much.
witness, that should dilute my ability to cross-examine this witness on an issue they're
Kathy,
raising.
how are you?
I'm not
So-
raising it.
you can see why I wish I had more notice on this, right?
Your Honor, I have no good answer for that.
So I will do what I can
One
in the
more.
next half hour. I might need more time on this, frankly.
Thank you so much, guys.
We'll see.
One
She's
more.
Your Honor, may I ask what you... May I, Mr. White?
I just want to know, is she here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can she stay another day if need be?
I think she'll do what the court directs her to do. She
you,
would
Joe.
have to leave by Friday. She cannot be here. Well, may I approach?
Yeah, why don't you come up?
She's saying that the witness has to leave by Friday, so they got to do it before then. I think it's delaying showing me. No, it says we need 1 more. Yes! Thank you! We finally hit double digits on this. I am so happy. We got our 10th flash goal done. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it so much. I kind of like these flash goal thingies that they're doing. And it keeps us on our toes in case, it happens to be a boring time. Though that is not the time. This is not the boring time at all. This is, I don't even know what this is. This is asinine. The fact that the defense is having to argue, questioning a witness? No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. The fact that, and then they're putting a timeline on it. I know. I completely agree. This is crazy. I'm starting to lean that way too, and I don't like saying that, but I'm starting to wonder about the corruption on the bench as well. It's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of stuff that we've witnessed in these past 11 days that I've been side-eyeing with her, and they're just getting more and more obvious. Me too. Me too. I'm agreeing with you on that. It's my opinion as well. There's just too much. Do we know? Okay, jurors, close your ears for a moment. So for the non-jurors in here, do we know what the connection is? I heard it was a summer house that the Alberts own. What is the connection? What connects her? Bye. Where are you going? Okay. This is why we start late, so we don't have to stare at the fan. Patience with parameters. I'm gonna have to thank Glam for that one. I think it was Glam that had brought, when I was talking about how I have patience, but please hurry. Patience with parameters.
You have joined the meeting as an attendee and will be muted throughout the meeting.
Thank you for letting us know.
The host would like you to unmute your microphone. You can.
All right, I appreciate
Thank you, Gwen.
the time.
I've used
I
it ever since.
appreciate people's patience. So, in reviewing the rules, I look at Rule 2. So, Mass Rule of Criminal Procedure, Rule 2, Purpose and Construction. And so, upon reflection and consideration, it says, these rules are intended to provide for the just determination of every criminal proceeding. They shall be construed to secure simplicity in procedure, fairness in administration, and the elimination of expense and delay. Also looking to Commonwealth versus Durand. I don't have the site. I know it's from 2016, 2017. A judge, Robert Kane, was the trial judge. So because none of the purposes here in Rule 2 are served by the admission of the Maryland trial judge's decision, particularly were offered without notice to the court previously, I'm excluding that decision. Your rights are saved, Mr. Alessi. We've got that decision marked for identification.
Good.
And you certainly are free to cross-examine Ms. Hyde regarding her methodology. So that's my
Is
decision.
it just the Alberts kids?
So,
Who calls her
bring the jurors
auntie?
in, please.
No,
You are
she didn't.
unmuted.
Christy, do you want this under that?
It's sad that they have to pull the rule book out to tell her what rules she's about to violate. But they did, and they won. They shouldn't have had to do it, in my opinion. This is... I'm trying to think of a really good big word for this one. We've already used asinine. We've already used corrupt. Give me another big word. Arbitrary? No. Unbelievable already counts. We already did absurd. Egregious? I don't know how to say that. Disingenuous. That is our big word. Yep. Disingenuous. Her response was very disingenuous. She just brought out the rule book and let it and said, okay, you called me on it. Well, she didn't say that. You called me on it. You showed me where it's at. I'm reading it. So I can clearly see it's here. I'm caught. So if I disagree now, there's going to be problems. So she didn't say that, though. Expletives at this point, 100% agree with you. That's why we got our WTF stickers in the house now. And our evidence 101 for Canton. Egregious. That's my favorite one, Alyssa, is the audacity. It's the audacity for me that she even brought up the rulebook. And I mean, it's obvious to us, right? Like, she's like, you pointed it out, so I guess you're right.
Jurors, I
have to
appreciate
do
your
it.
patience. So, your next witness, Mr. Brennan.
Commonwealth calls Jessica Hyde.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Egregious. I love you guys. I love that you can help me pronounce words. Thank you. I word badly. She has her hackles up. Absolutely. I'm just as interested in this as you guys are. And the thing too is, if they could do this to Kieran Reed and get away with it, they could do it to any of us. My teeth are turning purple from the drink.
solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case law hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Yes, I do.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you
No,
please
not
introduce
yet.
yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Jessica Hyde, Jessica space HYDE.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a digital forensics examiner. I'm also an adjunct professor at George Mason University, where I teach mobile device forensics in their graduate program. I also own a digital forensics company that does training, services, and research.
She
In
knows she's about to
addition
get
to
challenged.
teaching at Georgetown University, do you teach in other ways?
Correction, I teach at George Mason University,
I'm
not
sorry.
Georgetown. But thank you. I also teach, my company writes and develops training courses. I teach a mobile forensic analysis course and a data structures course there to law enforcement, civilians, etc.
Do you engage in any other type of academics or research?
I do other research as part of some volunteer activities I do in the digital forensics field. So I'm the chair of DFIR Review, which is a body
I
that
don't like her
reviews
either.
practitioner-created research
I know.
so that it can go through peer review. I often do reviews as a member of a reviewer for Forensic Science International Digital
Stacy.
Investigations Journal, which I was a previous associate editor of.
What does
I
peer
don't,
I'm so
I
sorry.
don't like her either. Nala doesn't like her.
what does peer review mean?
Peer review means that
know.
when a study is done or a research paper is done on a topic, that an assessment is done of it. There are three
Thank
types of
you.
assessments that can be done.
Thank you.
One is a methodological assessment, where you read through the methodology of the academic or
I
practitioner-created
can't do
paper
anything about it. She's a
and
witness.
state if it is acceptable or
Can't
not.
help it.
The second is you conduct your own testing using the same methodology to conduct a peer review with your own generated data sets. And the third is if the original author has shared their data sets, reviewing their data sets and checking that against their work.
Has any of your work been peer reviewed in the past?
I've had 2 peer-reviewed journals. I've had an article that was peer-reviewed and published in Forensic Science International Digital Investigations regarding the standardization of file classification of recovered items. The layman's term of that would be talking about what deleted means. And then I have another paper that's been accepted that I was a co-author on in
morning.
terms
How
of
are you?
timelines and correlations of forensic evidence.
You mentioned you work in forensic data analysis. Generally, what does that mean?
It means that I look at evidence of digital forensics devices,
Thank you.
be them mobile phones, computers, Internet of Things devices, and do analysis to provide meaning and context to the data that's recovered from them, as well as performing data recovery of those same computer-related devices.
Do you have any specific education or training to learn about forensic data?
Absolutely. I have professional training both from courses I've taken, as well as I have a master's in digital forensics from George Mason University. A master's degree in that. I've taken multiple courses, advanced mobile analysis, iOS forensics courses from SANS, computer forensics courses from SANS. I have multiple certifications. I hold the GIAC GCFE, which is the GIAC Certified Forensics Examiner. I also hold the NWC 3CFE, which is a Certified Forensics Examiner.
Do you, through your company, teach other forensic examiners how to study forensic data?
Correct. I teach government agencies, both federal and state and local, how to do digital forensic analysis, as well as private sector digital forensics examiners.
How do you teach private digital forensic examiners? What's the method?
I've developed an online virtual course that we teach virtual live, so I'm always there when I'm teaching, but I also have a team of instructors. So for example, the mobile forensic analysis course that I developed right now this week is being taught to a police department in Texas right this moment.
Forensic data analysis seems like a broad field. Is there certain parts that you focus in?
I personally specialize in mobile phones and Internet of Things devices.
I want you to just give us some very basic, very general and brief background. When you're looking at a forensic device and you're analyzing it, do you rely on any tools?
That is a really interesting question. Reliance on tools is not precisely what we do. We utilize tools to extract data from a device, and then we utilize a variety of tools to attempt to parse results from those devices. But the forensics examiner has to take the additional step to both understand, validate, and provide meaning to those results.
Is there any shortcomings or dangers in simply relying on a forensic tool for a result or an opinion?
There is absolutely a danger in just relying on parsed results. When an algorithm is used to determine what data is stored as, it doesn't tell you what that data means, and that's where you need a forensics examiner. Tools don't necessarily understand how the data got there and what causes the data to exist, and that takes deeper and further human analysis, as well as, if you think about it, if on your phone you can go to the Google Play Store or the App Store, and you can actually download millions of apps. There's like 6 million apps between the two stores. Digital forensics tools maybe support generously 1,000 applications. So in order to be able to parse and understand the data from applications that the tools don't know how to support, you need a forensics examiner who knows how to dig into that data, conduct testing, and determine the meaning of the data.
Were you asked by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to look at and analyze a phone that was related to a person by the name of Jennifer McCabe?
Yes, with a very, very specific scope to a specific date range.
Were you asked during that scope and date range to analyze it and provide an opinion about whether there were any user-initiated deletions of any web searches or Safari-type searches?
Yes, I was asked to look for deletions of Safari searches within the scope of the time frame that was dictated by the purpose of the exam.
Were you asked to look at the phone device and determine whether or not there were any user-initiated deletions of phone calls on the device?
Yes, I was asked to look for deletions of phone calls in that same date range.
And did you do both of those tasks?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you ultimately have opinions on both of those issues?
I do have opinions on both of those issues, that's correct.
And in engaging in the efforts to answer those two questions, did you necessarily have to review and analyze a web history that included searches on January 29, 2022 at 2:27 a.m.?
I did analyze web searches that occurred at 2:29 a.m. In local time here in Norfolk on January 29th, 2022 from the device I was provided, yes. Not the device, a forensic image, for clarity.
So before we get to the two opinions that you were asked
For me.
to consider, or what your opinions were after analyzing the data, I want to begin by giving the background and having you share with us your analysis and your observations and opinions about the search on Safari relative
Which
to
one?
this 2:27 time frame. Before we begin that, let me just ask you one question. Did you do anything to ensure the integrity of the data that you were looking at?
Upon receiving the forensic image, the first thing I did was I did what's called a hash of the image. So a hash is an algorithmic representation of a file. So a forensic image, all the data from the phone, it comes in one file that can then be extracted and have the rest of the data. That singular file that's really received, there's actually 3, but focusing on the one that has all of the data, that archive file, you can run what's called a hash algorithm against it. There's actually multiple hash algorithms, and I hashed it, And then I validated that hash
This is the status, Hank. Triple, you're not the first person to say that, and I'm inclined to believe you.
to the document that was provided along with the image file that contained the hashes that were contained in. Those hash values matched. Now, just for clarity, if you change one bit in a file, it will not have the same hash. So the hash provides integrity, and having used both hashes, which are available in that report, and ran 2 different algorithms, they both matched. Additionally, I reviewed the PDF that was received for signs of alteration. The PDF that comes with a Gray Key report is not signed by Adobe Acrobat. However, I was able to take that PDF and then examine it just like I would a phone. So I'm using the same techniques on the phone. Using the tool called EXIF tool, I was able to learn a lot about the creation of that particular PDF.
I got my cash.
And what I was able to learn about it was that it was created by, it's labeled it as being produced by Grayshift using a particular code-based application to create the PDF called PYF PDF, standing for Python Framework PDF. It is on, it's a program that you can download, and developers who create tools like Magnet Forensics, who owns a Gray Key, utilize that script, which is why it says it's produced by it, to create the actual PDF. That's what the evidence there in the data tells me. It also contains a time of when that is created, and that time was February 2nd, 2022 at global UTC, that's the global constant time, think what's in the UK, at 22:49, which local time would be 5:49 p.m. So that says that it was created approximately 2 hours and 45 minutes after the document said the image started, and it correlated with the document information. So that provided some level of certainty that that document was factual, and on top of that, I further opened the file of that PDF in what's called a hex editor, which lets me see like every byte, every 1 and 0. And from doing that, I looked for tag markers that are made sometimes in some modifications of PDFs called XMPs, which is Adobe's format of markup, and I did not find any evidence of those tags.
When you're trying to determine whether there's integrity in the data, are you able to tell whether or not there's been any alterations or tampering before the item is put on the Gray Key machine to make the extraction?
That would be when you're talking about if the physical device had been manipulated, is that correct?
Yes.
I cannot tell if the physical device has been manipulated prior to it being imaged. I can only validate if the image was correct.
Guys, do me a favor. When you're making statements like that, please put IMO at the end. Otherwise, people will say, Michelle's chat is putting misinformation out there. Michelle's doing nothing of the sort. We just have conversations and opinions, that's all.
In theory, all of the data of anything that you did on that device would still show in the evidence of device logs and whatever locations that were touched or communicated with. But at that point, it's the same as any user interacting with the device itself.
After the phone's extracted, or at the time it's extracted, does it have the history of the device on that extraction?
We have one.
Could you rephrase?
Yes.
Let me show you.
At the time the phone is extracted and the copy is made in the PDF and the digital copy.
But if you guys are not a subscriber, so you don't have the sticker, just type IMO, which also means in my opinion.
Does the digital copy and the PDF contain the
Thank you for the
history
follow.
of searches and calls and other items on that phone?
The forensic image itself contains a variety of different artifacts or traces that are left behind by activities that a user does on a phone. Yes.
You use the term artifact. What does that mean?
Thank you for the follow.
In a basic sense.
An artifact is any type of evidence that is left behind on the phone of an action. So, for example, if you receive a call, there are multiple places in the phone that show that a call was received. That can be in the call log, that could be in a notification, that could be in a unified log that tracks the activity that the phone's doing. There's multiple locations, and each one of those residue of the fact that the call came in, that's what I would refer to as an artifact. So you could have an artifact not just about a call, about a web search, about taking a photo, any action you take on your phone may create an artifact.
Before we get into those two questions about any alleged deletions from Safari, a Google search or internet search, and any alleged deletions of phone calls, I want to start with your explanation or your sharing how the timestamp works relative to that search beginning at 2:27 a.m. on January 29th, 2022.
So for clarity, there's more than one search that happens actually at 2:27. There is some activity that's looking at, and I don't want to mispronounce the name of the town, I'll try Hockomock Sports, looking at activities for the sporting events at that school system, I assume, or county location. There is a timestamp for the search Haas Long to Die in Cold. However, that timestamp isn't about active searches, it's about the time that a tab was either opened or moved to the background. So Haas Long to Die in Cold is the most current search in the tab that you opened at that was opened at 2:27. So if you're using your phone and you go to your browser, you have some choices. You can just open an existing tab or you can open a new tab. A new tab was opened at 2:27 a.m. and that search was done there. Another tab actually at 2:27 was moved to the background, and its last search at the time it was moved to the background was for, I believe it's Raining Men, the YouTube video. So those two searches both exist as what's called browser state searches, but that browser state isn't about the time that it was searched. It's about the time that the browser tab that you opened either went to the background, or if it's never been moved to the background, the current search. So the time in the instance of the It's Raining Men video is the time that that video was moved to the background and the new tab took over as the tab that's active. And that tab, the last search done in that tab is Haas Long to Die in the Cold, because that database holds the current search, it constantly gets updated, and the time that the tab was either opened if it's the first time it's opened, or moved to the background if it's an existing tab.
That song's
Did
gonna
you
be
put
stuck in
together
my
an
head.
exhibit that would help explain some of the
I
different databases?
did put it together an exhibit that would show that.
May I approach?
Now I was upset because we ran out of her TRATs. I think Daddy gave her the last ones there this morning.
Piece of paper, you recognize that.
I do. This is table 1 from the first report I created on this case on the phone that I was told was for Jen McCabe.
Is that the exhibit that will help you explain?
It will.
I move this to evidence.
Now you have me wondering why I didn't think of that sooner. I'm really, really questioning why I didn't think of that. So thank you, Sometime Graham, for bringing that up. Now that you have, I can't unknow this. So I'm right there with you. But why in the hell did I not realize that sooner? Sidebar number 4. I think it's 4.